Yeah.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'd like to call the sustainability meeting to order with roll call. So we have Tim, do you want me to say their names?
Yeah, and then they'll just raise their hand or say here.
Tim Hauser,
Here.
Swan Jacobson, Hassan Rashid is not here.
He might be a little bit tardy today.
Okay, Brian Lee, Steve Christensen,
Here.
Stephanie Vela,
Here.
and Nick Garcia.
Here.
And Christy Santo Domingo is here.
Great.
Okay, so first the land acknowledgement, which I have right here. Got it. We acknowledge that we are on the indigenous land of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Snoqualmie Indian tribe. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. And next we have our previous agenda. Oh no, tonight's agenda. First, we're doing tonight's agenda.
Mhm.
Okay, so did you all have a chance to look at tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Everybody good? Does anybody want to make a motion?
I move we approve the agenda.
I second it.
Wonderful. Anyone opposed? Okay, then it's passed by common consent. Next up is approving the minutes from March. So I hope everybody had a chance to look at those. If you want to take a look, I printed mine. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from March 12th?
Go ahead. No, go for it, Stephanie.
I move to approve the minutes from March 12th.
I second Stephanie's motion.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that is passed by common consent. Public comments, 3 minutes.
We did not have anyone pre-registered and there's no one in the room.
And nobody online.
And nobody online. Okay. So next up, we have our sustainability ambassadors presentation. So they're going to do a 20 to 30 minute presentation, recap of all the good work they've done and are doing. Hello. The city's, unfortunately, the contract with sustainability ambassadors ends at the end of April. And so this is sort of like, I see this as like the grand finale where we get to hear all their wonderful work. We got to hear on Tuesday for those of us who were able to make it. I'm very grateful they have the chance to present their efforts. Also at the booth that we're having on Earth Day. So here and then also at our booth, at their own booth. Okay, so thank you.
Do we want to maybe take just a couple minutes to share out maybe reflections from the town hall that we had on Tuesday? Just while we wait for a couple more ambassadors to.
Sure.
Were we expecting a couple more students, Peter? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And can we work off? Excuse me. Can we work off that link that I shared with you?
Yes.
While she's setting it up, what was the attendance like at the town hall?
There's about 35 people, a couple of city council members, a couple of commissioners, and
A few teachers as well.
what?
A couple teachers as well.
Yes. And I think as a pilot, it was successful. A lot of sense of empowerment among the students. They were really well prepared. And we'll show you, for those of you who weren't here, we'll show you kind of highlights from what we achieved so far. And we'll be doing a final report by the end of this month. The town hall was kind of the capper. But I still think it's a pilot. I think it could happen in a bigger way, and it could happen during the school day, which would then be capture some teachers and students as part of their curriculum rather than hoping to come after school. Yeah. But it's a nice annual tradition to say, what are we doing? What does the city need us to do? So it worked in that respect. You guys, reflections, how'd you feel about it?
I thought it was great. It was really cool to just see. We've been working on this for a really long time, so it was cool to see it live.
Was. So you can you come up and help me here? You can chime in if you want to, but it's a similar presentation with the notes that we had from town hall.
Yeah.
Come on up.
And maybe if any commissioners wanted to share any reflections from the event on Tuesday as well, key takeaways, highlights, moments of inspiration.
Well, one thing I would say is I was very inspired by, of course, all the work that they've been doing, but it always, I don't know, I'm sure this is true for you too, but it's always a push being in Issaquah School District and how far behind we are compared to Lake Washington. Like, we don't even have a sustainability PTSA group. And so it always motivates me to, like, I don't know, push for that. I don't know, find a way to kind of push for that. You know, I know, for example, Lake Washington just elected a very sustainability focused school board member. And so getting school board members on, remember I talked about voting, my big thing is vote, and who you vote matters, because those are the people you influence, but they're the people making the decisions right now. So getting more sustainably minded people elected and pushing for it also that way.
That's what I like about town hall also, and it's a civic
Yeah,
exercise.
yeah.
In saying, there's commissioners, there's city council members who are really trying to understand the complexity of the issues and then make priority decisions to move the issues in a certain direction for a certain set of values. And it's really good for students to witness that. I'd like to see it be even more ingrained.
Did you invite school board members? Just curious, because that would be a big step for them to hear what Lake Washington's doing versus.
Well, we will. We'll let them
Get there.
Yeah, because that plan was just approved. Well, we'll show you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so high level overview here, and thank you. You could probably scroll, okay, Rose?
Yeah, I was hoping to open it as a PDF, but I'll just scroll from here.
You can get rid of this arrow here. Get rid of this. There we go.
Okay.
Let's dispense with the quick facts because we'll just show you visuals with the same quick facts. But if you wanted to, we'll finish out this report and give it to you, Rose, to City Council at the end of this month. So this is what you were talking about, Christina. Shivani and Sophia just kind of tag team with me here. The Issaquah School Board did an operational expectation. Cool.
Oh.
But our students, with Sarah from Issaquah here, they really did their homework. They got petitions from or signatures from all of the cities saying we have climate action plans. We'd really like to have the school district be part of this. So it was cool. And during that time, the Lake Washington School District had a similar operational expectation. But what happened in that course of that year is the Lake Washington School District hired a consultant who also helped like Lansing, Michigan, get a really strong sustainability plan. And that's where the superintendent, Lansing, Michigan, is now the new Seattle superintendent. So this consulting firm helped Lake Washington School District go all the way past the policy into a really strong implementation plan. So scroll down a little bit here, Rose, and we'll have
To two?
yeah, that's right here. To kind of catalyze that, we facilitated monthly meetings in the Lake Washington School District half, which included Kirkland residents, and managed to keep the conversation going with students and staff from the cities, including Rose. But here it is. This is the front cover, and we're quoted in there. We're acknowledged as one of the partners, and it's gorgeous. 56 pages, and it's what Issaquah doesn't have yet. So we feel like this is a challenge for students and community members, teachers, and city government workers to link up the city's climate action plan with the school district's sustainability plan, because that's where we'll see a difference. That's how we can measure a difference. I don't know, maybe Ryan, you can riff for a second on the STEM, just the STEM climate action plan, because it's going to be part of this report also. Do you feel comfortable riffing on that?
Just talking about
what it is and why we're doing it.
the climate action plan is meant to be as a guideline for other schools across the district. And so we are trying to show STEM data because we have some of that collected by some of our own students, and then STEM's personal project that students do to kind of motivate other people to, follow that as well. And so we have like different sectors like waste or water to kind of showcase all of it together.
Energy, transportation, waste, water. What Brian's talking about is it's a high school climate action plan. That's not happening. Tesla's the first. Because they have students that go to your city as well as Kirkland and Redmond, it's pretty cool. And they're referenced at the very front of their document as a school climate action plan. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit husky. They reference the three cities' goals. And so this is this is really beautiful. Little by little, we'll see how it can percolate back down to middle schools, high school, Eastside Catholic, Skyline. But Lake Washington can lead. And within the two jurisdictions, Lake Washington and City of Sammamish, is Tesla STEM with a school-based climate action plan. It's gonna be really a gorgeous layout too. Okay, let's go. You guys pick it up here because I'm gonna lose my voice for sure.
Yeah. All right.
I think we can speak on
We
this.
can probably speak through the entire rest. If you want.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we got it.
They got it.
We'll take stand up.
Yeah.
I'll just stand over here.
So
Let me come over here.
over here. Okay. Okay, so this last year we called it a PBL lab with a bunch of teachers and students where we kind of worked on aligning the different versions of the city's climate action plan goals with actual curriculum goals that teachers could implement in their own city. So as a picture, there were a ton of teachers there. I think the metric is 791 students reached through those teachers that attended. And they were able to integrate it into middle school curriculums, particularly where they had students actually complete impact projects as a part of their class. Can help us.
And also to just highlight, over the course of our SNAP contract, we engaged with and trained 20 new student ambassadors. And we had 3 paid student leaders, with Shivani and I both being here, and Akshara from Eastlake not being represented. And I also just want to highlight that I've worked with sustainability ambassadors in both paid and volunteer roles for over 5 years.
Wow.
For reference, I'm currently 18, so that's about a quarter of my life, and I think that's pretty significant. And so I think it's been an amazing opportunity, not only in terms of facilitating a ton of leadership and impact project and project manager opportunities, but also just as a way to see personal development. Because Peter knows this, he saw me grow from this like shy little Sophia middle schooler into the very I don't know what to describe myself as today, but I think I'm definitely a lot more confident.
We come up with some adjectives. I'm confident, poised.
I was gonna add to that. So I've been observing you guys for probably the past year, and a compliment to your program. I mean, you've learned a lot of things about sustainability, but your public speaking skills are outstanding for high school students. And it seems like through your program, you guys get a lot of experience getting in front of groups. You too, Stephanie. I remember when you were presenting as well. And so, yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot out of this program. Very well-rounded.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I usually get emails from students after their freshman year in college, and they say, Peter, I had no idea, because they're feeling ahead of their classmates.
Mhm.
College is hard and college is sophisticated,
Yep.
but most of them go now with a systems understanding, and high school is still kind of, isolated subjects. And you can become an expert, but not necessarily how is it connected to your city or the larger systems. Keep going, guys.
Yeah, wait, can we hold there for just a second? Sorry. We do want to highlight that all of our ambassadors completed impact projects, kind of like I mentioned before, that students at Pine Lake Middle School were completing. So in our Sammamish team, we completed a total of 16 impact projects, ranging from carpooling to like things you can flush. And I think we have like vampire plug loads. So we did a ton of different projects.
What is an impact project?
Yeah, so an impact project is, we have a bunch of different templates. They're all projects that students can do on a small scale within their own homes. So I can give an example. One of the impact projects I completed was like kind of a research related project on flushing wipes and how flushable wipes aren't actually flushable. So they're all different projects about usually gathering some type of metric from your own home and then putting it into either an infographic or a video that can create a measurable impact.
Okay.
Rose, we should see this for a second. Could you go to Sustaining Ambassadors?
Yes.
It's going to be the first thing that pops up in World Google. Maybe.
Wow.
To our homepage, go to Impact on the far left, Impact Project Design. I'm just going to ask you to scroll down. So we have developed these over the last 4 or 5 years. All of our students have created examples. the impact design process, impact data tracking, impact storytelling, and then keep going. Rows you can go past, start here. It's all right. Keep going. There's 50 or 60 of these. These are all on saving water. Everyone has a template that's pretty detailed, including all of the data you need. And then there's some student examples. Sophia Forever will be right here as you graduate out. These are on saving water. Keep scrolling, Rose. We're just gonna have an eye candy here. Trees are cool.
Video on there.
Trees are cool.
So you can see there's space for additional students to
Yeah.
do projects
Yeah.
as well.
Stormwater solutions. Sophia shows up there again. And these are wastewater solutions.
Shout out to Siobhan.
Can you click on Siobhan?
Siobhan?
Yeah, I made for the same one, there's an infographic and then there's also a video version about this project.
We'll see if either one will load.
Yeah. So this is an example. It kind of walks through some data. So I researched a bit into like actual metrics from the wastewater treatment division. I looked into like my own home, how many flushable wipes or other products we used, and then kind of implementing, kind of getting rid of those in my own home. And that was the measurable impact that I tracked.
Okay. And then did you share this out at school?
No, so
Or-
it goes on the website and then the video that I made went up on the Instagram. So I kind of tried to send it to my own family and then some
Okay.
other people that I know, but it's on the Instagram page. So yeah.
But I will say teachers do look at it. Like I look at these
Mhm.
Cool.
for ideas to do for my students.
Some of these are independent and some of these are actually classroom based,
Yeah.
correct? So some students will assign this as a project or maybe extra credit
Yeah.
or, you know, a unit, and then some students just do this on their own time as well.
Yeah, and Pine Lake Middle School is a great example of that. They had it as a part of their actual class, so people would get graded on the impact projects that they completed. So a lot of these type of projects were great at that.
Very cool.
Something we do want to highlight is that if you actually keep on scrolling down, so
Hair's not flushing.
we talked a lot about how
Patient choices.
Clock strains.
we've talked a lot about how these are like personal or classroom level impact projects. However, if you keep on scrolling down, you can actually see how these expand to more larger scale, like city-wide projects and school-wide projects, such as turn off the lights day.
Oh, but let her get there. Zero waste, we're still an individual. And then here's food systems. And then that's what you were talking about, campaigns.
Impact campaign. So these are our very large, these are multi-month projects that students work on. For example, getting a refillable water bottle station installed at your school, or doing a carpool to school event on a school-wide scale where you get thousands of students involved. Recently, we also completed carbon commute counting, which I believe the exact metric we collected was over 30,000 responses from over,
13,000.
oh, sorry.
And about
13,000.
3,000 from the Skyline community,
Yes.
which is a lot. And those are that's in our review. So let's go back to the Google Doc, Rose. So to answer your question, it's pretty detailed, and it's the students help drive the examples. They also do the project so they can lead by example. But then it's real audiences, teacher classrooms, and there's a couple of different sets of teachers who are working at Skyline that are working from this. When it's time to do projects, they go here, and we'd like to see that expand.
Alright. So this is the carbon commute count that we discussed. We briefly just discussed them. So at Skyline High School, to break it down, we had 900 responses. East Lake 733, Pine Lake 652, Inglewood 793. These are not small numbers. These are quite large when you consider in terms of how many students are engaging, because for example, at Skyline, that's about 1/4 of the student body. So imagine that out of 4 students you talk to at Skyline, 1 of them engaged with our impact project, and you can see our spread over
The carbon commute count is it's a baseline gathering tool that happens in the fall. And
So,
we're,
so I can multiply the number of pounds of CO2 per student per day times number of responses and get total CO2.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's per student per day. The reason we did that per capita, so it's a series of questions. It's a 90-second survey. We're trying to get more students to do it. Next year will probably be double that number. 13,400 responses. We'll go into Seattle and Highline next year, but hopefully even more responses from some Amish schools. Those questions were vetted by a transportation planner. We had Kirkland and Redmond help us with that. So those are the questions they want answers to. Easy for students to do. And then from that, we could get data all the way up to some carbon estimations for how different modes of getting to school and back.
You gotta work on the overlay school.
Yeah, they got a lot of people coming to that cool school from a long distance.
Yeah.
But we have some ambassadors from Overlake on our team, and they're realizing that they need to work on the carpool. I do have a report that because of, well, thanks for mentioning it. I'm just remembering. Our ambassador said, Peter, do you know what happened? I said, no. He said, because of the carbon commute count, and they reported it to their private school board, they said, oh my God, and that's part of our mission. So they're now investing in an electric shuttle to transport more students from collector points.
Right.
It'll take a while, but they're moving. So
Awesome.
data is king. And when we just do these very simple data gathering actions and then visualize it, then we can compete. There was an Olympics. We called it the baseline data Olympics, carbon Olympics. And which school had the lowest carbon footprint. That doesn't mean they did anything to improve it. That's where we can kick in with curriculums.
So there's middle schools, there's not one that's over 2.
Because they can't drive.
They take the
They
bus.
all take the bus,
They
yeah.
take the bus.
Yeah,
The kid
well,
can't drive.
and they're close.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
High schools are close, but they drive. Seniors drive.
Hi, Max. Good to see you. Max is from Sustained Bachelor's, October from Skyline. I hope you're catching the strategy here that data gathering and the lots of impact storytelling, even just like, here's what it is. Wow. And it makes us think. And then we start deciding what to do to drive the change. All of this is referenced back to a city's climate action plan, whatever city we're in. So your vehicle miles traveled goal, reduction goal in your climate action plan, that would figure in here. Okay, we don't have too much time, so let's keep going. Highlights.
You're doing okay on time.
Miles traveled in our city.
Data analysis video.
Yeah, you can
And all of this is, I was gonna say, all of this is linked in the agenda too, so.
These are really cool. These are student videos of back to their student body of here's what the data means. So it walks you through and that's where you get into more detail than you think from a 90-second survey, extrapolate all the way back out to including all of the assumptions we make to get to that data. Where do those sources come from? So it's really powerful. We got written up, one of our students, journalist, and she wrote this up for the Urbanist. So it was a featured article in the Urbanist.
Oh.
Sophia, this question for you. How many hours a month do you spend on these types of activities and working with this group?
I think I've tracked it and it's fluctuated. I've definitely had months where it's like, I don't know, 60 hours. But I've also had months where just personal things get in the way and it drops down quite a bit. So it really has to do with just project management, what tasks need to be done. So that's where it's really helpful to have someone like Shivani so we can pair off and she can come take up the slack whenever I can.
Shivani, do you spend 60 hours a month working on?
It depends. So I also do a lot of the communication side of things. So I do a lot of video content. So I'm kind of more focused on the video content than the school-wide campaigns. But I think some of these videos are actually my videos. So I definitely remember there were a couple months where I would spend like 40 hours. Yeah.
The expectation is about 5. Sorry, 5 a week. So that's 20 hours a month.
I'm sure this is great stuff you can put on college applications.
Yeah, just great skills that
Essays.
we've been able to build up. Yeah.
Great.
Quick question about the video analysis. Are those given back to the schools and shared back with the principals and?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, we do as much as we can, usually because they're happening where we have ambassador representation, so they make a big effort to get it back. Sometimes a science class picks it up, sometimes ASB might look at it. They're meant to be short. So here's the data and it's strong.
Actually, I have a personal anecdote about that. My chemistry teacher that I barely talked to came up to me one day and she's like, Shivani, I saw your video in class that Peter shared. So they definitely get pushed out to a lot of science teachers. Yeah.
That's cool. However, it's just a toehold. This is the first year, and year after year, we want to make sure that's anchored. We think the two school districts will say, oh, that carbon commute count, we should legitimize that. We know at Lake Washington High School, for example, we did not get much of a count. And the students want to put it in the September survey of kind of school climate. What do you think? What do you need to know? And stick it right in there because everyone has to take that. Then you get this massive data when everyone's in the survey mode. So we want to continue to collaborate with cities and school districts to say there's certain tools we've developed that will be really valuable for you too, since you have a plan now. You need to implement your plan to collect that data and then make changes. Two kinds of changes. One is what students can do, individual campaigns for at the school level or community level. And then probably the biggest bang for the buck is what can happen in the classroom. And you have that going on in a couple, ninth grade biology at Skyline and environmental science at Skyline, and then the entire 8th grade at Pine Lake Middle School. But you have 4 middle schools up here on the plateau. We want to get to the next couple.
But we do water conservation one.
7th grade science.
Yeah, 7th grade science does that for sure. So I've done that one.
Let's talk about water for a second, because there's additional funding from Cascade Water Lines each year to support this ongoing work. When we feature the climate action plan, we're talking about energy and transportation, a little bit of waste, and then water, of course, natural systems, trees and water, but water conservation writ large, which is more the purview of Sammamish Plateau water. That's a cascade relationship, and they're contracting with us annually to make sure we're telling those stories. So that's should be mentioned, and it is happening, and that's one of the star schools, the 7th grade program at Pacific Cascade. Okay, so if you want to, you should check out some of those videos. This is happening now.
Yeah, I believe I saw some handouts on that on the. Yeah,
I posted some as well. Maybe you give each commissioner one of these just to look at.
Yeah, so these are bingo books that we have shared with students. I believe every Sammamish school at this point. And basically we are challenging students to complete a bingo, and these bingos rely on using various methods of transportation, including taking a ride on Metroplex to riding the new transit two line across the floating bridge, which recently opened, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah.
You don't have a walk somewhere on here.
It's because we want to make sure that
Transit bingos.
Hey, feet can be transit.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
And
it
I
worked for
think we
me.
kind of assume that you're going to be walking.
Yeah.
And so the main aspect of this is that we partner directly with King County Metro Transit in order to provide monetary prizes for schools that can engage large number of students in the bus bingo. For example, there is a Bellevue Spanish program, I believe, that Peter is super excited.
Let's go to the website, our website again, and we'll look at Transbingo. You all could play. You all could compete on behalf of your schools. You can make it happen. You take the bus into the.
I don't actually.
You live there?
No, I don't live there. I know I commute. Yeah.
You will now.
Well, there's one way to get them.
I'll do bus bingo on the way to your job.
I mean, it's formal. There's rules. It's going on for the next 2 weeks. Look at this one, it's Spanish classroom, and
Oh, that's us. Wait.
Yeah, that's okay.
Scroll back up for just a sec.
Oh, look at that.
So this is a video me, Shivani, and Shara made where we
Road transit.
how many bingos did we get?
12. We checked off 12 boxes. We went on some errands, we got coffee, and so you can have fun and still ride transit.
The Spanish thing is interesting. We have emailed all of the Spanish teachers in all of the middle schools and all of the high schools in your city, Issaquah, Kirkland, Redmond, Bellevue.
We also
And this is curriculum. So there's sustainable transportation curriculum is all translated into Spanish. And I think that's what's going to catch on because it's curriculum driven and you can practice your Spanish vocabulary on the bus or transit. We have a number of teachers, especially as you're mentioning W High School. I think they're going to play it big. Scroll down a little bit further and you'll see the prizes. Okay, scroll back and talk about the competition.
Yeah.
So $1,500 to the winning school, high school, 500 here. Anyone who gets a blackout, you could get a blackout between that. Or you must get a blackout.
Yes.
You get $25. One of the best video scores.
How do they get $25? They send it to you or something?
Yeah, there's rules.
Oh,
So that's the strategy is the objective is to normalize youth riding transit. That's the big picture. Why? Because we need to reduce carbon footprint. Who's measuring that? City climate action plans, school district climate action plans. So we want to make it fun and we gamify that learned experience of transit school. It's a great way to get around. And then reward it if that's your external motivation versus just save the planet. And in order to keep track of that data through the game, a teacher or a school district can just play. They can just play. They don't have to ever talk to us. We don't know what's going on. But if they want to get into the prizes, then they send us a pretty elaborate spreadsheet of who did what. And that goes all the way through, how many boxes did you get? Those are points. How many bingos did you get? That's a point. Did you get a blackout? That's extra points. Any kids layered on there. You might have 400 kids or 30 kids. School has to get at least 30 bingos to get into the prize range. So I'm going deeper into the rules because it's pretty simple activity, but it's a pretty elaborate strategy behind it. And we want to convince King County Metro Sound Transit to go for it. See if Issaquah is contracting with us to help them do student focus groups on what would a shuttle service look like. So that first mile, last mile. Redmond just adopted a first mile, the Red Link, it's called, Red Line, Red Link. So transportation, maybe it starts with Transit Bingo, but it gets you to bikes, it gets you to carpool, and we want to make it fun to save the planet. Okay, we still probably have to go fast. Let's go back off of our, so the bingo boards are all here too, including Spanish bingo boards.
This is so awesome. I've seen council members and people on city staff doing these bingos. I think it would be so cool if we the sustainability commission did this at one point. I think that would be so cool and it would also be a lot of fun. Maybe we could discuss that.
Do I hear a second? You could do it anytime and we could collaborate on, a summer, the commission challenges the teen group at YMCA, something, for us, challenge us. Say something else. I don't know. I think my voice is a little stuffed up. I think also I'm a little stuffed up here too, because in order not to be less stuffed up, I'm taking some medications that's making me a little stuffed up. Please continue.
Speaking of transit, we also had a bike to school campaign with Pine Lake Middle School in particular. This campaign started when we talked to a Pine Lake Middle School teacher who said that their bike racks were literally overflowing with bikes. You can see that. This is just 2 bike racks. And he also mentioned that the side of the school was lined with bikes. And so we did a bit of research into e-bike ridership in particular, because we saw a huge spike in that. And then we also created some campaign materials and videos encouraging more middle schoolers to bike. So that was another transportation related campaign.
We're gonna beef that up for the second week in May, which is bike to school month. And we're gonna use Pine Lake Middle School across all of King County, all the other middle schools. We're going to challenge them to do what Pine Lake, and maybe Pine Lake will do even more also. That's in careful partnership with city police officers that want certain messaging going out there about what's a bike and what's a motorcycle.
Right, you spoke to that already.
Yeah, this was something that me and Sophia did. So we did a solar neighborhood survey and we made a video content about this. So we're kind of encouraging people to survey their own homes, see what their solar potential is. And if you scroll down a bit, there should be, okay, I don't know if it's there, but we got a database. We essentially, me and Sophia and a couple other ambassadors over the summer collected data for 500 plus Sammamish homes. We put it all in a database, and it's all data about whether a home can go solar, what their solar potential might be. And this is just a treasure trove of great data for homes that maybe want to switch to solar. Speaking on kind of green power switches, we're also kickstarting our green power campaign with PSE Green Power. We're trying to promote homeowners to sign up for that program that matches their energy into more sustainable options.
Let's keep going.
Keep on go, right?
By the way, for PSE, we have a conversation started with them that's pretty fun. They want to look for ways to support what we're doing, especially if it was matched by cities. So we'll keep you guys informed, because that might be a good way to leverage kind of a central place where we're training ambassadors, but they're serving multiple cities. Kind of like a student version of the city collaboration, the 5 cities that already collaborate.
The East Side Climate
East Side, yeah.
Yeah.
Sound Transit, same thing. Sound Transit has already contracted with us for increasing youth ridership and teacher engagement through curriculum on line 2 and also line 1. So we'll be developing those relationships with Seattle, Highline School District, and Federal Way School District to the line 1 all the way down. But it's the same stuff. It's integrating through the curriculum. Is that a civics lesson or a science lesson? Is that a math opportunity? Is it a geography opportunity? And then gamifying experiences for students to get comfortable riding. In this case, Sound Transit.
Quick question for the 500 homes that you got data on, where did the data for like the solar potential come from, and could that be shared with homeowners?
Yeah, so it was a couple of links. So first we plugged in those addresses into, I think it was a parcel. It was like the
PV watts.
Yeah, we did PV watts for the actual solar potential. And then I think there was another metric. Yeah, we did Google Sound Roof and PV watts. And then you can see, I don't know if it's linked in here, but in the actual data chart we have, we put where each thing came from and then what the actual data was for. And then also, I think in the video this video up here, this video is kind of intended for homeowners. We also shared those websites and encouraged people to do some of their own research on those links.
Is the Solarize linked on the website by chance?
Should be. Thanks.
What?
The Solarize report, is it linked on the website, if I can link to it here?
On our website?
Mhm.
It's not.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it will be tomorrow.
It's a good summary.
Let's bring that to Jenna.
Yeah.
We have, let's do this. Go to our website again.
Yeah.
It's from a teacher's point of view. Go to teachers and go to lesson plans. And under lesson plans, let's jump to energy solutions. They'll take us down. Yeah. So we developed a pretty sophisticated list for middle school, but mostly high school, science and engineering practices for solar, the sub-inquiries, because every science teacher needs to teach these 8 practices. And we have really beautiful case studies from around the Puget Sound area of what it looks like. So students can learn about solar by looking at community case studies. And then heat pumps are hot cool, the same thing here. So those kinds of experiences will get loaded into lessons. That's felt rather than just it's posted somewhere on our website. Either it's going to be an impact project because students are doing, can my house go solar? That's an individual assessment. And here we say for a given class, I don't know, Christina, it's a pretty interesting possibly eighth grade inquiry to use some of these tools that architects use to do solar assessments. And then the whole school gets that awakening to decide whether solar is good or not. So we have that inside a lesson plan that's going to be associated with these two coming soon. And I think that's where it'll go.
Can I add a point here? Just a thought, maybe expanding your audience on the solar power issue, not just homeowners. There was an article on LinkedIn today that talked about portable compact solar systems used in Europe for people who are in apartments or condos, and they can hang it on their deck and then wire it into their apartment or condo and run all their home electronics off that. So it sounds like they're becoming more smaller, more portable, and perhaps a wider audience than just single family homeowners.
Johnny, can I see you for a moment? Just on the private.
Yeah.
Just come over here. I'm gonna whisper because I don't need to have everyone here. But remember when you and I were talking this morning about you're really interested in being a lawyer and policy and everything?
Yeah.
This is a policy wanting to happen. It's so dumb because in Europe you can buy a solar panel and hang it by yourself off your deck and wire it into your house.
Yeah.
That's how easy is that?
Right.
It's not legal here.
Yeah.
So there's need a policy shift.
Mm-hmm.
So keep going.
Yeah, I'm glad we kept that in space.
That's really good fodder for a civics class or an engineering class.
Sure.
And then we bring that back to city councils all over the place and saying, vote for this or give a directive back to the planning department. The planning department will probably say, if we had a state law that made that easier, it'd be easier for our cities to do it.
Sure.
And someone like yourself goes down to the state legislature and says, we have 4,000 student signatures that says this is dumb. Can you fix it, please? And that'll probably be the camel. I don't want to break the camel's back. That'd be the tipping point. That's the word I wanted. Tipping point. That's how it works. That's what we're talking about this morning. I didn't mention that, but it was on the tip of my tongue. Thanks for bringing it up.
You're welcome for that setup, by the way.
And just to follow up on that, the legislature, and you guys might already know this, but they're always looking for people for testimony. So are you tapped into that?
It's a lot of effort to take students there to pay
No,
attention.
you can do it online.
Do it online.
You can do it online.
We do for 2 months during the session. Every Monday night when we meet, one of our coaches is tied into the legislator, and she's there every Monday night, Jen. And so she walks us through based on the Washington Environmental Priorities Coalition. And then we put our comments in there. So it's like 40 or 50 comments every Monday night.
Good.
In that process.
That's great.
I could see that scaling up so that more civics teachers knew that you could really engage. Yes, just at that digital level.
Yeah.
We would like to see teams of ambassadors go down there for Youth Lobby Day and get that experience. We don't have the capacity to facilitate it directly or pay for a van or anything, but we'd encourage individuals. Let's go past this because we're going to talk about that here on these tables. And I think we're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we doing questions or move on?
Yeah, we definitely have some time if folks have specific questions for ambassadors or ambassadors if you have questions for us.
So
And then we can do some collaborative Earth Day planning. So we'll keep you up front if that works all right for you.
do a circle.
Getting your steps on.
That's sustainable transportation.
Yes. Maybe we can start with each of you sharing kind of your biggest takeaway or something that you're really excited about that came out of this year or your most proud moment. Just maybe a highlight for us. It's great to see the work that's happening, knowing that you all are involved, but hearing from you also as individuals, as ambassadors too.
Sure. Okay. I think that my biggest thing, there were two things. One was a cool, full circle moment where, I was able to, for that e-bike campaign, I was able to interview one of my middle school teachers, my old middle school science teacher. That was really cool because I think that's kind of his class was what kind of got me interested in sustainability. So it was cool to be able to interview him for sustainability ambassadors. And then also, I think just the leadership and communications experience I've gained is just something that you can't really get in any other way. I think just kind of doing all these campaigns and participating in all of this has really helped me kind of get where I am right now. So, yeah.
I think for me, it was actually last year. Me and a team of fellow ambassadors, we managed to hand out 450 Oprah cards, which was definitely really pivotal. And it was like, it really gave me the momentum and encouragement I knew to like take on these larger scale things like the town hall we had and more recently the carbon commute count success we managed to get with over 900 responses.
Something that really stood out to me recently was through those public comment forums, being able to actually see a policy change that was made in regards to, I forget what it was called, but it was regulations around, regulations around water usage.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up AI. So is iteration 2.0 of the sustainability ambassadors using AI maybe to collate data faster, maybe process surveys more quickly, or use that to maybe present more infographics? Have you guys thought about the role of AI and what you're doing?
There's some buzz among our college level. We have 5 or 6 college ambassadors, interns, fellows, and the momentum there, just to put it on the table, is to boycott AI until it gets figured out.
Because of the power usage?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Water, sure.
and the guardrails, guardrails, like what's gonna happen. So it's a good, rich discussion. And they probably were having this with the printing press, back in 1500. Like, oh my God. And then the radio, and then TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys have thoughts about the advent of technology in terms of our storytelling?
I think for me, as like I really like making videos and making scripts. I think that I can see using AI and other things, but I think particularly for like humanities and for the arts, I really like being able to just put my thoughts on something. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm curious to see maybe I like your ideas of like maybe survey responses and stuff. That could be an
For
interesting,
data analytics, yeah.
interesting exploration.
Yeah.
I did have a fascinating experience on the East Trail continuum from Renton all the way through to Woodinville. Kind of goes through Kirkland and Bellevue there. So there's a Bellevue hosted thing, but all those jurisdictions, parks departments, and businesses were there, and some King County people as well. Oh man, so fuzzy, you guys. Such a great context, and I had no idea what I was doing. They'll come back to me.
Well, it's a long trail, and what were they doing? Something with AI?
Thank you. AI. Yeah. They had 100 people in the room. We had a bunch of students at different tables too, and they were really working on the vision. If we got East Lake Trail completed, and they need hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete this section or that section, but what could it be for the people of Renton, Bellevue, all the way through? And we all were working on this stuff, and then we all gave input. And during the part of that input, then there was a couple of, we were at Meta headquarters, actually in Redmond, Bellevue there, Belgrade Ray, Meta headquarters. And there were some people putting in those things into AI pictures. So we had an instantaneous PowerPoint of what that would look like. More people of color and women especially riding the trail and feeling safe. Picture. And sometimes it'd be a little wonky, like there's palm trees. But it was interesting to me to see if you could visualize your thinking. That's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. So I like tools, and right tool for the right job. And then how are we as a human species ready to use the right tools for the right job?
Yeah, can you elaborate on more on the water issue with the AI? You're talking about the data center and how they use the water?
Yeah. The AI, the way that the computers work, they overheat very easily. So you need to reroute a lot of water from other water sources to cool down those data centers. And it's on a much larger scale than with other uses of water, like with regular computing. So I think there is a concern about the energy that it requires to reroute that water, and then also just the water consumption that it takes.
And to kind of tangent on Shivani's point a little, another concern is not only the rerouting water, but the fact that you have so much water usage in such a small footprint that the effect it's going to have on local communities and local wildlife is on a scale that is simply unimaginable. And furthermore, this isn't just simply cooling, it's also introducing a lot of those toxic metal contaminants into the very water itself.
So I work in the environmental remediation field, and I've proposed ideas about using treated water that's not acceptable for potable usage, but it's kind of like gray water. California has purple pipes where they convey gray water to other sources. So maybe that's something your generation can figure out, is how to locate data centers near environmental cleanup sites and then reuse that treated water into a closed loop cycle. I mean, that'd be really interesting. We could figure that out. And then you're not taking water out of the water supply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you cool it with a heat pump?
And go with a heat pump, yeah.
No, I think your thought is right, because I do work some of the projects with cooling water. So it not only, the heavy metal and all the water volume, it also water is heated by the time you discharge. So it is not good for the the species that in the water. So definitely have things. And I think what my colleague is saying, that gray water or rainwater even.
Yeah.
Our rainwater goes just overrun. We don't collect it.
Think of it like a car wash, right?
Yeah.
You bring your car and it gets washed, that water goes into a drain, and then it's recycled back into the process. So why can't data centers do something like that?
Yeah. Maybe it's something we should look into.
I think we are a bit over time, so yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're moving into Earth Day booth planning. So I don't know if there are chairs for them to come sit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we
Wanna
have some
pull up
chairs.
some
There are
chairs?
less of you than I thought, so I didn't know if we were gonna be able to have all of you at the table or not. But yeah, you're all
If someone.
Yeah, if y'all wanna maybe scoot to your left. Just get y'all at the table.
I can use my
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went down there last October. Go travel. Yeah.
Okay, I see. You guys are meeting at 7.
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's
They have 8 minutes.
we have
8 minutes?
7
Let's
minutes.
go. We have 8
Alright,
minutes.
let's do it.
Yeah.
We're
We're gonna make it a productive
8 minutes, you can sit. Okay, so thank you for that presentation. Now we're moving to Earth Day booth planning. So there will be 3 booths. There's gonna be the Sustainability Commission booth, the Sustainability Ambassadors have a booth, and then Energy Smart Eastside, which Rose is at that booth. So Sustainability Commission's focused on transportation at this one. We will have the wheel. Community van participation is on the decline, and the program will end if we don't market it and inform people about it, so that ridership will go up. We are at the Sustainability Commission booth. We're going to have the thermometer when we have the wheel. And we're going to have our flyers regarding community van, which community van is either you can drive the van or you can rent the van. I mean, you can rent the van, or a driver will take you in the van up to 2 hours away from Sammamish, but not the airport, which is odd because that would be helpful.
Can be the airport, it's just,
Okay.
that's not the primary purpose of the van.
Okay.
And I can give a more detailed breakdown of community van once the ambassador students leave, just so
Yeah.
we're utilizing their time.
So along with Metroflex, and then anyway, okay, so then with the sustainability ambassadors, it's their first booth ever, right?
Yeah.
And so some thoughts that were brought up were just like, you're going to be presenting all the amazing work you're doing, and I don't know if you wanted to share out your ideas, what you wanted.
We're here to support you all, so let us know how we can provide feedback.
You guys just open up this box. You haven't seen this either, but we're gonna rehearse with this stuff. So just open up this box, you guys, and put it out there. And imagine 3 or 4 boxes like this, and each one's kind of theme. So put some stuff out. And if you can pass those around, everyone take a or maybe a pair, take the little cards. The bigger sheets that you printed, we printed half sheet black and white.
That-
So we can pass out those more.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Do you want us to pass these around or just?
Yeah, I want you to open some of those and take them out. Yeah, what do we got? Just stuff, right?
So. Okay, like.
Which one?
I think they're gonna. That's a game.
So this is very short form, Rose, but imagine that if we had a booth and we had 3 students manning it, womaning it, personing it.
Thank you.
We would have these cards, these are sorting cards. And when you, it's a regular lesson, we have a number of teachers are using it. It's ranking, what's the most sustainable solution?
So what is this for?
Well, read the label, it's a pretty good ranking.
It's a special toilet paper made from bamboo that is.
Oh, I know that company. What are they called?
Yeah, that's the company. Read it out loud now into the record. Who gives a crap?
Okay.
That's my toilet paper and I subscribe and I get 24 pieces of rolls every couple months, depending on
So
how.
why bamboo is more preferable than
Paper.
typical?
It grows really fast in a small amount of land.
Yeah, so like
As
you.
opposed to cutting down trees.
Yeah.
Pause. So it could happen, right? Already we have people curious. Now we're adults and we're curious, but if we have if we have kind of a water box and a waste box and an energy box. And I noticed, Shivani, was that you? Oh yeah, power.
A vampire load.
Vampire loads, right? So what's a hairbrush? Hey, you know?
Wait.
That's, well, it's kind of like fog. It's something you can't flush down the toilet.
Yeah.
But this one is specifically hair and it's
Flushable white.
Yeah.
So if there's some stuff on the table, because we don't have cool wheel, but we can say, I just want to play the cool wheel, go to the next booth. We'll have some of these mystery boxes.
We can fix that for you. That's homemade.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
What do you do with these cards?
In a lesson, you sort them based on 3 criteria. One is what's the easiest.
So it's the
Solution.
toilet paper.
This one or this one?
So what? Is there a problem that people?
I'm
have?
sure it is, because it had to, doesn't it have to be?
Easy solution for what? Like,
No.
is there a problem?
No.
They say, here's the problem.
I could sell toilet paper.
Well,
They're sustainable solutions. They're already solved, say.
Oh,
And how would you rank them for the easiest?
They're not on.
oh,
do.
for you to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, and
So,
one person
You
gets
know,
this
the
huge
things you're
check.
telling me.
No, at a booth, well, in a
Yeah.
classroom, you have 4 students at a table
Yeah.
Yeah,
debating.
And
Yeah.
virtually everything.
So the first way you debate it is what's the easiest? Second way you debate it, maybe it's a day later, another short activity,
And very.
is what has the biggest
very
carbon
simple,
footprint?
but I put in
That may be
the
different than what's the easiest.
simple-
Third one you
What
debate for
really
equity
is
reasons is what would be most accessible by the most number of people.
The kind of.
And then you
toilet
resort-
paper
that's
have
cool.
to mold
You can
it
have
on.
this at your booth for
That's
people
what you
to
think.
quickly do it.
It's a smaller stack.
Well,
Take a couple of-
there is such.
We have one of those, for those, those manipulatives.
Yeah,
And then we want to do this. Hey, Shivani,
Yep.
you've associated the checklist as well as these with pages in here, right? So we'll have a bunch of these at the booth too, say, oh yeah, you're interested in that one? Cool. Well, this is
And you can flip to.
page 3, it's right here. So we want to make a direct connection to things you can.
Yeah, you all will have the sustainable sandwich guide at your booth. We're not gonna have any copies at ours.
We got them? Okay, guys, we're responsible for making sure people know how to use these.
Ooh.
You want them? They all have them at home, but they maybe didn't say.
I have a big stack I can give you all that I'll bring.
And we can give them at home.
Yeah.
If people want.
So in
Absolutely.
terms of your audience, what we found at Earth Day was our primary audience were kids. You know, we had the wheel, we had giveaways, but we're trying to connect the kids to the parents and actually use the kids to teach their parents more about sustainability. So think about like your demographic at Earth Day and how you kind of work that into your booth
You can
plan.
get,
Yeah.
there's
Yes,
a device
agreed.
you can get to measure your kilowatt hours.
Oh, yeah, we have one, yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, like
you
to the
should
little
put that
kids,
in
you
and
almost could
measure
hold
it
up
so
like
you've
3
got that
cards.
Mhm.
Which
Somebody
things
says
you do
bedtime.
at home,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
certain things that kids will mess with these, they're such nice
you go?
cards.
Yeah, so ambassadors can, Peter will loan these out to interested
It's
advisors.
like kids are-
Yeah.
We should put that metric.
Make a list of various, like,
Doing it together.
various things that people.
Yeah, very
can
cool. And what's this
post their
for?
Cleaning products.
How about what you
Look at the
say
green.
about it?
And
So-
what their vampire load is.
That would be cool. Maybe that can be the thing associated.
You're fairly innocuous,
Yeah.
as far as cleaning
I
products
never.
go.
And that's what you're showing?
Think about it,
Let's
maybe.
get everyone together here.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
So I do.
What we did is we kind of just cleaned off our shelves of cool stuff to talk about. But the strategy here would be ambassadors.
No, that was.
We're gonna have a rehearsal because the same thing's happening in with the Lake Washington PTSA. They're having a sustainability fair. We have a booth there too. I think it's the day before.
It is. It's the night before.
And the Kirkland folks are gonna do that. Then these boxes will probably come over to you guys, but we'll have a day of rehearsal. So that the experience based on what you guys think should be in the boxes. And it's a one reveal is like, what's in the box? These are solutions in here. And stuff comes out. Exactly to point. Like, what? Wow. That's what?
Yeah.
And so you guys would only put in the box what you feel like you can talk about. Look, it says 7th generation. This is a green cleaning product. And other cleaning products, which I did not bring, would be more harmful. So they're conversation starters. That's what they are.
Cool.
And then they'll be talking about bingo. We can hand out some bingo cards, play.
That's cool.
Even though the competition will be over, but people are still curious to just play the game. And then we'll have the right number of these that especially correlate with these. So that's kind of, this is our first rehearsal. We thought I'd bring some stuff, get a little input. And then we need to practice and see what we're gonna put in those boxes.
I would suggest with your vampire loads thing, we were talking about earlier, measure the actual load for a number of different devices. Figure out how many kilowatt hours are stuck on them. And in a month, you multiply that by about 17 cents a kilowatt hour. And you tell them how much money they're flushing down the toilet.
Yeah.
With bamboo toilet paper.
Yeah.
But Steve brings up a good
example.
point. There's lots of people that come to Earth Day, but there's lots of things to do. So what's the grabber? Like people's attention is probably 5 to 10 seconds. So how do you start that conversation and then have them stay at your booth and engage with you?
And
Right?
money is a good grabber.
Yeah, the items too are
Yeah.
good to get attention. Yeah.
You guys think it's worth it then?
I do.
With the
Yeah.
right
I think
boxes?
I like the idea of actually putting the cost because I think that the kids might be attracted to like this kind of things, but I do think that that might be a homeowner
And
attraction as
one
well.
more column in that, you can multiply it by, I think it's about 0.3 metric tons per megawatt hour is what Puget Sound Energy's carbon footprint is right now. You can look it up, but I'm pulling that out of the air, but you can put down how much CO2 is being emitted.
And just
But we have that backs up, you guys, you can reassemble these things and put that back in here. Pass around the objects and we'll put them back in the box. This is part of a lesson plan, which is 91 statements of what your current habits are. We'll simplify this down to just the right patch that again correlate with cards and the guide. This page after page of single statements. So what are you already doing? And we're gonna have that as kind of a table placemat so people can sign their initial and we'll just capture kind of a visual way. This one thing they can do there, maybe engage in this conversation over here, maybe play a simplified game of ranking cards.
Peter, if you want me to print and put it on the same size as the green thermometer, I can do that for you.
Nice to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it's we don't need it on the phone cord, doesn't have to stand up. It could just be kind of a placemat.
I can get you a big placemat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be the same size as that.
But we don't need a phone cord, right?
Yeah. It's just paper on foam.
But no phone cord.
No phone.
It might even be fun to have something like that, like a bigger visual. You know how we put the stickers like where they want to
That would be
It's data, right? It's like, but it's also engagement and data and that conversation starts.
Yeah.
What the students will have is some of these, which is part of several of our lessons, which is why does it matter? So every one of those 91 statements has a couple paragraphs loaded with the links to the data that says why for all these things we brought out that the information we hear, which starts to get us to the carbon footprint stuff. Okay, so we'll rehearse,
Yes.
I heard you mention data and metrics. Something that we've done is we have a clicker so we can count how many engagements we've had with people. So that's important in sustainability actors.
you guys have a clicker on your phone, right? That's an app. Probably, I think it is.
I don't know. You could just
Yeah, we're.
The only other heads up is like some of these tables give away freebies, so you may have people being like, "Can I take this?" You can be like, no,
Anything else?
this is great.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to connect like the tables to the work you guys are doing, like the really cool impact videos. Like I don't know if this is very feasible, but having like a video compilation of all your like impact videos or like a shortened version of it like on the side would probably bring people in.
Or even photos
Yeah.
of some of the work you guys have
Like a
done.
slideshow.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to Rose, we'll have this map. So this will be another, be like a placemat there. So it's another way for people just to say, for us, so, oh, cool. So where do you live? They find where they live. We'll ask them some questions. How close are you to a forested area? How close are you to a stream? Do you have a bus stop nearby you? Where's your bus stop? So we'll have 6 or 7 basic questions that come out of the guide using the map. We developed these for a classroom that's going to use them, but we'll have a couple at the table too.
Cool.
As a sort of closing note, just as you're thinking about what you're going to have on the table, make sure that you're not overwhelming yourselves, and also just overwhelming the people coming in. Like you'll want to focus on probably at most like 3 or 4 things at a time, just so that you're not overwhelmed as the people presenting things to people coming by, and so that people who do come by have something quick they can latch onto. Because if you have a dozen things out on the table, it's going to be a lot more overwhelming for both you at the table and people coming by. So as you're like rehearsing, going through things, try and figure out which things seem to have the most interest, and like narrow in on those.
Less is more because it's very busy. You're only going to get a little bit of time.
Yeah. And you could switch out the items after like.
Oh yeah, like every 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Longer than that probably. But
Yeah. Less overwhelming.
Yeah.
Can you guys help me carry the box out, maybe?
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to have a follow-up meeting with you all to kind of get the final.
Sounds
set
good.
if you want. And I did request a second table for your booth, so you will have 2 tables.
Oh,
with
okay.
that
That's
size.
good.
You can put them in kind of L shape or next to each other.
Oh yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
follow up with an email, but
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
do a little bit more planning between now and then.
Well, I think you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel better. All right, thank you all.
Is our booth going to be next to theirs? Or are y'all gonna be sort of in?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So the map is not totally finalized. I was hoping to have it for you all today, but we're just figuring out a last couple vendor kind of flow setup. But for those of you who were at Earth Day in past years, let me so I'm not gonna be sharing anymore. For those of you who were at Earth Day last year, in the setup, the sustainability and city booths are actually right at the front of the event. So it's one of the first things that you see when you walk in. We're kind of near to the food trucks. We're going to have 3 booths right next to each other. So there will be probably the Sustainability Commission booth in the middle, Sustainability Ambassadors on one side, and then Energy Smart East Side on the other side. The Sustainability Commission table will have 2 tables. So kind of an L shape to help with the flow of folks and make sure that we have enough space for materials, giveaways, and also for you all to have those interactions without it getting too clogged up. The Energy Smart East Side table I will be at with a couple of our Energy Smart East Side program advisor volunteers. So that booth will be taken care of. I kind of did a mini setup over here in the back since I didn't have space for 3 tables, but we do have materials, a tablecloth, handouts, and we'll really just be focused on that program. If it's feeling too crowded day up, we can pivot and kind of include green power at that table. But I think having the Sustainability Commission with kind of a transportation section and then an energy section might be smart. Definitely, if you all have ideas or preferences, we can adjust. We've got a ton of materials, as you can see here.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Does the city have any extra of those blue t-shirts we had last year, so we kind of look a little bit more official?
I asked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the box that we did have that was extra, that some little critters got into.
Oh.
So our extra shirts that we were planning to use are not viable to be worn. What I would recommend is maybe wearing green, right, for Earth Day, and then I will have some sustainable Sammamish pins. And then your name tags. That'll be another way to really show that you're official. So does everyone feel like they have a good green something
I'm
that
wearing
they can
my
wear, because
green.
it could be blue, it could be black, just something that kind of keeps you all consistent. Is everyone planning to be there? Yeah.
I will also, just, this is also a good segue for that, because Issaquah is having their sustainability fair same day,
They are.
from 9 to 2.
Mhm.
So I may check that out like in the morning and then come to the Sammamish one. So I may just be a little bit later just to see what they're doing on that end.
There's at the the salmon hatchery, right?
No, it's a Pickering Barn,
Oh, I didn't see that advertised on the 25th.
25th. Yeah, Issaquah Sustainability Fair. Pickering Barn is, if you don't know, it's just right across from where the Costco is. So
Interesting.
Yeah, so our Earth Day is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you did want to check out Issaquah first and then come to ours, you definitely could. Yeah, really just if there was anything else that we had chatted about that I can kind of get put together between now and then. One of the other things we had explored was maybe doing an interactive poster. One of the ideas I had is kind of printing out a large version of this with this big question. As folks are going around and interacting on Earth Day, they can add sticky notes, write things down. What have you learned about today that you can or will do to reduce your climate impact? We had also previously discussed, if we wanted to have a series of posters with, do you have an EV? Do you have a heat pump? Have you signed up for green power? But I think this kind of keeps things a little bit more consolidated.
And I would suggest we might have to help facilitate that too. Some of you might be willing to verbalize it, but not take the time to write it down, and maybe we could put it on a sticky note and just put it on there.
Exactly. Yeah, that might be kind of a good audience interaction while folks are waiting in line.
Yeah.
Or, we'll see. I'm going to meet with sustainability ambassadors and help them kind of narrow down their booth activities, but maybe having an extra thing in our back pockets to kind of give to them if they're needing a little bit more support or materials for their booth. The other question I had that, we could pose is, why does climate change matter to you, right? That's a good thing to kind of get, especially littler kids thinking about it, or even why does the environment matter to you? So if we wanted, we could have 2 of these and kind of have one at each booth, or maybe one at the start at the line and then one at the end. So why does climate change matter to you? What are you going to do about it?
Or what about asking something like, how can the commission help you meet your goal? Like, is there more education they want in a certain area? Like, for example, I saw in Klahani on Facebook, they posted like heat pumps, do the questions about heat pumps, and I forwarded them your op-ed and I forwarded them the Energy Smart East Side. Like, maybe people are coming and that would help us know what do they need help with.
So you want to answer their questions.
Yeah, like ask them what their questions are. What education would help you? What more do you need to make us take a step? I don't know.
Maybe just make it a little more broad and generic, like to get more interest in it is, what do you want to learn more about within about sustainability? What aspects of around sustainability do you want to learn more about? Because that will both guide us for what things we can tell people about. Because also for some of these people, as in well said, people don't know what they don't know, and so that'll give us some information. We can also look then at what we are putting out already for information and kind of cross-reference what people are curious about, what we're already putting out, and then use that to fill in any gaps.
Yes, that's a good idea.
A note that I had from the last meeting for what PSE will be providing us included stuff like marketing materials or things to have at the booths. Do we have that, or will we be getting that? It's just things from PSE for the Green Power Program.
Yeah, so this thermometer actually is from PSE. I have great graphic design skills, but theirs was a lot prettier than my initial take. And then I will have printed out the 1-pager and the FAQ sheet for Green Power, so that'll be a reference point for you all. The other thing is we do have these 2 QR code stand-up boards, whatever you call them. And I can definitely switch out those QR codes if there are certain programs that you guys feel like might be helpful for folks to just quickly scan, right? There's obviously so many programs that we could put on those QR codes, but Green Power might be a good one to add on there instead of the sustainability guide, knowing that we will have physical copies of the sustainability guide. So
That's what we're trying to drive.
So that won't be updated by Earth Day then.
that is the updated one, the April 1st one. So
Actually, it's not, Rose, because there's one more person on there.
Yeah.
Which is not as of April 1st though. So
No.
Yeah, so
Right.
because they pull their reports monthly based
Yeah.
on their customer base and enrollments, that's typically how their cycle goes. I can ask if they can get us one, but this was the one that they had provided and kind of set up. So obviously we'll be at April 25th. We probably will be a little bit further, but this is really for folks to feel like, oh, I'm signing up today.
Mhm.
Let me add my line and let me actually see that thermometer go up. Yeah.
Just making sure we have markers for that so that people can actually, I put a note in here to make sure that like we make sure we have markers so that people can actually put their lines down.
Exactly. Yeah. And we can, I mean, I have a bunch of different color markers in my outreach thing, so folks can pick which color they want and it'll become pretty and rainbow.
Is there any way for us to incentivize people to take a flyer like on any of the topics or just tell them about those topics without them getting the flyer?
Can you maybe rephrase that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
You're welcome to hand out any flyers that you'd like.
I've just noticed like at some of the past booths, like people don't really like take the flyers all the time. Like most people that stop by just like spin the wheel, talk to us a little bit, and then the flyers, like maybe a few people like take them. So is there like a way for us to encourage people to take those more, or if not, just like tell them about like some of the topics on their like community van that they might not otherwise know about?
A really easy way for the flyers is we print out a piece of paper that says take one, and we put it underneath the stack of flyers.
That's good.
I don't know. I mean, we don't want to waste them. They're expensive to print. I would say
That's
when
true.
people come talking about community transportation, like at the sustainability thing on Tuesday, the high schoolers all sitting around me were like, I wish the city did more with transportation. We need way more buses. So my thinking is when they come, it's like, hey, do you have any questions about community van? We could be more deliberate about asking.
Totally, I agree.
Right? You don't want to give it to people who don't care. I would rather go to the people who want to know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Maybe one thing we could look at as well. I think, first of all, Earth Day as an event is, I would say, a little bit more interactive, and folks are coming wanting to learn more and actually taking a lot of those flyers than you might see at a farmer's market. Someone at a farmer's market maybe doesn't want to take these written materials home when they have their groceries and their hands full and their kid, but at Earth Day, folks are often coming to learn more and interact. One other thing that I was thinking about is maybe adding some wheel questions to be a little bit more direct. So instead of being these general questions, it's, have you heard about community van?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
No. Here, let's learn more. And the other thing about Earth Day is because it's moving pretty quickly and we have a lot of folks in line, you maybe won't have the chance to have as long of a conversation. So actually saying, oh, community van, here's a flyer to learn more. Folks might take that and then read it at home.
But that's your idea, though. If we have a long line, maybe a couple of us walk the line while people are waiting and ask those questions. Usually, when they come up and spin the wheel, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, you might get a few people that are interested, but my experience was not a lot. But if we work the line, then there's time to have conversations.
And they're bored anyway. So
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
do you know about community van?
And we tell Steve, slow the wheel down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be so many of us there that we could definitely spread out.
I think so.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And can I make a special announcement about the bike ride?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
You're like, got a bike ride.
Oh, look at that.
So apparently they had one a long time ago and then nobody ever replaced it.
I didn't get the exact story as to why it was taken out, but a number of years ago it was taken out maybe for construction or accessibility or something. So they were able to find the old bike rack and reinstall it. And then we also are going to have some portable bike racks because it's a pretty small bike rack that currently exists there.
They put in the same one.
They put it
We're just flying around.
Rust and all.
Our facilities team took care of it. And we also ordered a portable bike rack. We're going to see how much use that gets. This is kind of a pilot year for that portable bike rack. And if there's a ton of interest, overflowing with bike racks like we saw at Pine Lake Middle School, then we would order additional portable bike racks. Recognizing that we have a number of events across our different parks, and that way we can kind of meet the community where we're at. So like the 4th of July, for example, we could have extra bike racks here on the Commons Plaza. So
I'm riding my bike that day.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if anybody else can ride their bike,
Well, I don't have a bike, but I got 2 feet.
No. So we'll be riding our bikes. Take up 3 spots on the bike ride.
But no
Okay.
cars, no car spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not taking up a car
How
spot.
about
EV chargers.
Huh?
This can car?
No, I'm gonna walk.
Good job. Are we ready to go on, or do you want more?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of our last opportunity to plan as a group. So if there's individual questions, feedback, suggestions, please send them my way and I'll do my best to incorporate them into our booth planning. And then as always, we'll have a bit of a debrief as to what we can improve in future years. But is there any other concerns, questions,
Well,
suggestions?
I like a poster like that, and maybe one like the, what can you do? Could be a conversation starter.
Mhm.
So we should probably think about where we're gonna put that poster, so it's visible, it's,
Yeah.
and don't put it
Small
in,
table.
yeah, don't put it in a non-obvious place, and probably up high.
And we have stands for the posters. So it actually wouldn't be taking up any of the table space. It would be kind of like a raised A-frame. You might have seen it like the open houses for some of our
an easel.
projects. Yeah, thank you. What I was looking for is easel. There will be easels for those posters as well as for the green power poster. So those won't be taking up booth space, but we will need to think about how to strategically place them.
Connecting a couple of things together, because I do like the idea of getting input from people about what sorts of things they are curious about or want to learn more about, and also thinking about what the person who's walking the line will actually be doing, because that's just something we want to have a plan for. And that could be something the person walking the line could be asking people, what do you want to learn? Like, what do you want to know more about? And some of the things they might be able to just answer on the spot, as well as taking note of. And other things, if it's not something that we have a great answer for at the time, or would be a longer conversation, can be something that we either tell them, okay, this is the sort of thing you want to be asking about when we get to the booth, or like writing it down on the board, like this is something we'll look into talking about more. Just as something that can be done while walking the line, just to make sure that we have a plan for that.
You bring up a great point. So we're not just riffing. We came up with, you remember, Rose, last year, we had like the message points around the climate action plans. We were all talking on the same sheet of music.
Yeah, I can get that
Fine,
reprinted and updated.
Yeah.
So key points 1-pager for you all with kind of those
One-pager.
level talking points.
Yeah.
I mentioned I'll be putting something together similar
There it
for
is.
the sustainability ambassadors. They wanted a 1-pager on the climate action plan specifically.
So we had our one pager had climate action plan 101, climate change 101, energy efficiency 101, and heat pump 101. Yeah.
But ours is transportation 101 this time.
Oh yeah, I'll
Right.
have to update it.
Okay.
Like, I think that's cool to have the focus,
Yeah.
you know.
So we're just making sure we're just being consistent on what we communicate, questions we answer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, something that we did for the wheel, for those of you who were at Lunar New Year, and I believe it was also for the Frosty Fest, where we were doing a question sheet. So for each of these wheel sections, it's kind of related to a specific question. And then I also do provide a couple answers or talking points to help guide you. So they might say, oh, what's community van? Here's 3 bullet points that you can use to describe what
That's
community
good.
van is.
And since we have the green power thermometer, do you want to also include that on it? Like do transportation and also that talking point?
I think so. Yeah. As we get this pulled together, I will kind of make that final decision, or we can reconnect. But my thought is to kind of have transportation with a couple energy supplemental questions that folks who are in line or might seem like they might be interested. For the younger kids, the younger families, maybe that's not as good of a talking point as transportation might be, especially those kids that are coming up on their own to the booth. So we can kind of use our best judgment as they spin the wheel. If they happen to land on a green power question, maybe you just ask them a transportation question instead. Does that make sense?
Since we'll have the 2 tables connected, do we want, since we have the sort of the transportation focus and the green energy power program focus, do we want to have space for people to come up specifically for to learn about the green power program? Just making sure we have enough people, if we have enough people there at the booth, for people who want just generally come into the booth, as well as people like specifically coming up, they want to talk about the Green Power program and learn about it, or like tell us that they're signed up for it. That they could come up separately. Just something to be considering if we have enough people, if it would make sense to almost have two lines for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Is PSC gonna be there though?
They are going to be there.
Okay.
So if folks have really specific
Yeah.
questions, I think you could send them to the.
Well,
PSC.
they'll be at their own.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll also have a map of, this is something that I didn't have last year, but it was a lesson learned, is I'll have a map of the actual event with the labeled booths for all of you. So you can tell people exactly where they need to go to learn more.
Okay.
This is, again, we're gonna have a lot of folks, we're right at the front. So for some of those more in-depth conversations, that's a good opportunity to take that community member to the side so they're not kind of clogging up, maybe answer those questions, have that discussion, and then show them where they need to go for more information. Yeah. And we can have, I actually will probably just post a QR code right on there so that folks who are walking by and wondering what that is can scan it, and we kind of have that as a silo. So it's not clogging up the main wheel.
Will we have an opportunity to like take a look at the questions that will be there and maybe like provide some feedback or just like add some in if we want to?
Sure. As a follow-up to today's meeting, I will kind of send a summary of the additions and talking points and what will be prepared. And then I'll also provide that question sheet so that if you all have specific questions, I think Christy and Steve had provided some of the initial questions for the wheel that were really great. And we'll just kind of narrow those down for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Rose.
Yeah.
Are we ready to go on?
Yes. Anything else? I want to make sure everyone feels like their voices are being heard. Got a lot of good stuff, you guys. You're putting me to work. I like it.
Yeah, it starts at 11, but you want some of us to be there like 10:30 to help set up, right? Yeah.
Yes, between 10 and 10:30 would be great.
Okay.
So the booths will already be set. And again, I will send a pre-event kind of reminder overview for you all to reference, including the event map, and then a reminder to wear green.
We just need to read our emails.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so next up is our upcoming events and agenda items. So are we gonna put that up?
Yes, let's kind of get pull up.
The big thing on this one is for people to mark their calendars and right now to kind of think about who can attend, particularly the 4th of July event, because Rose wants 4 of us there. So it's from 5 to 10:15 on the 4th of July.
Probably didn't ship.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good with that.
We'll probably
Well, once the fireworks start, we're not gonna stay there, right? It gets dark and.
Yes, 1 second.
I still might want to have like 1 or 2 people at the table, but.
Okay, so yes, just following up your point, Christy, because we had talked about, the 4th of July is one of our most heavily attended community events. However, a lot of folks are not going there to necessarily learn about a booth or talk about sustainability. So I think it'll be really important to hit it hard, for us to be working, volunteering on the holiday. We really want to make it worth our while. So having 2 booths, one in the lower commons and one up here on the plaza. And we need at least 2 commissioners at each booth because I will be kind of floating between both and then bringing you materials or having conversations as needed. So I would need 4 folks to commit to the whole time. If that is not something that we feel like is doable this year, you guys have other plans, that's okay. We do have a lot of additional community events that we have added to our list for this year, like Kahani Days. Mazan, we're going to reschedule the time to present to the Muslim Association. So we have these, the Lake Washington School District PTA Sustainability Fair. So we do have these other pretty large touch points with the community that we had not had in previous years. Absolutely can support 4th of July, but just want to recognize that you all are spending a lot of your time already with the commission at farmers markets, at other events. And so I just wanted to revisit that conversation with you all. Now that we have a little bit more on our dance card, if you will. So the events that in bold are the really big touch points with the community. The Lake Washington School District Sustainability Fair, it's going to be pretty tight. I might only need 1 or 2 folks. So even though that's a big engagement opportunity, we have pretty limited booth space. So it's not as critical for commissioners to be there. The ones that are highlighted are really the events where I could use that additional support because I'll be floating, interacting with the community, or just because of the sheer number of folks and size of the event. So
I kind of, if I can go, I'd like to do the Lake Washington Sustainability Fair just to see a model of how it can be done.
What day of the week is that?
that's a Friday.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To maybe present it. It's on a Friday.
It is. It's a Friday afternoon.
So where's the Lake Washington School District resource room?
It is,
Redmond Town Center?
yes.
The one? Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have it in Redmond Town Center?
Yeah, it's where like some of the main headquarters building stuff is. It's kind of like facing like the main entrance to Redmond Town Center where the escalators are. It's off to the left.
Interesting. Okay.
I've been there a few times.
Cool.
Close to the Marriott, not that far from the Marriott.
Yeah,
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. Actually, it is very close to the Redmond Old Farmers Market. The farmers market
There's
used to
just so
be.
much going on that
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, there is a lot. Okay, so just looking here, so we already had the Skyline Sustainability Town Hall. Thanks for the 4 of you who attended. For Earth Day, can I get one more raise of hands just so I can kind of plan for?
I'll try.
I'm gonna be late, but I'll be there.
Okay.
I may be
Cancer
able to
walk in Seattle.
be there.
Okay,
I'll be there early.
I'll be there early and I'm riding my bike.
perfect.
I'll probably not be ready for
early.
this spot.
I will be coming from Seattle. I will not be riding the bike.
I mean, you'd only be an extra, what, an hour or 2 late if you.
That's it, right?
You get there just in time.
That's great, you all. I'm very excited for this.
It's crowded.
We'll be crowded. We'll have. I might do is I might commandeer Steve to join me at the heat pump booth. Is what I do.
Steve needs to make another spinner so we have 2 going. Get through the line faster.
All right, my neighbor's tree's still down. I'm sure he doesn't mind me going in his backyard with a chainsaw.
Well, this is great because then we'll have a couple folks at each of the 2 tables and then a couple folks interacting with those in line too and kind of manning each of the posters. I think that'll be really great. I think it'll also help keep the flow of people going a little bit quicker.
It'll also be good, people can tag in or out from time to time.
Can we table 4th of July to our next meeting and then, because you're trying to get commitments from people, right?
Yeah, we can have like the decision point be at our next meeting,
Okay.
but I just wanted to up that for you all for consideration. Check your calendars. We're gonna ask for a commitment at our May meeting on whether or not you can make it, and that way I can make a decision and also plan accordingly.
I think that.
What, meet from 5 to 10 PM or is it?
It would be until about 10 p.m. The fireworks show starts, I believe, at 10:15. Remember, the days are a lot longer in July, so it is a 5-hour commitment.
That is.
I recognize you all may have plans with your families. Some folks may be out of town. While this is a great tabling opportunity, like there are over 20 events on this list. So please, if you can make it, amazing. Let me know, but like, don't put that pressure on yourself or miss out on family or other opportunities.
But if you don't get 4, you're not gonna do it.
yes,
So you should know, if she doesn't get 4, we're not gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's okay.
I'm out.
I
And-
think, Rose, I can be there. The only thing that would be getting in my way would be my
I
bed.
never know.
It's I
Maybe
think our
fireworks?
15th. I don't know. It's our 15th wedding anniversary. It's the July 1st, so we're
Congratulations.
leaving the kids and going away.
What a great place to have a wedding anniversary.
I know, right?
I'm not talking about Hawaii, I'm talking the fireworks.
The fireworks, no. Hawaii will be better. I promise.
And for the 4th of July, we do typically have at least one city informational booth for folks to come to. So they did say if we can't make it and do the tabling that we had kind of initially brainstormed, that they would have some copies of the Sustainable Sammamish Guide and one of my QR code things there,
Oh, okay.
just in case. So we do have kind of a backup plan.
Will the ambassadors be there on the 4th?
No, unless they're planning to attend as community members, but it's not really a tabling opportunity. It's much more of a community event that we could add a city booth to, but for anyone who has been to the 4th of July, it's completely packed. There's food trucks, there's live music happening right here, tons of families, there's activities for kiddos. So it's very much, there's a lot going on, but it's not necessarily a bunch of booths. It's a lot more activities, kind of zones, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone who's been previously have anything to add?
No, you
What do
described
they
this
prefer?
fun.
You know?
Great.
What is the parking arrangement here? Parking.
It's
Great.
chaos. So
Very
it's
hard,
hard
very
to
hard.
see anywhere folks can find
We
space.
park at
It's-
Skyline and it takes a long time to get out.
Yeah.
I think last time I'm a few years ago.
Park at my house if you wanna walk a mile and a half.
So think about it. I'll revisit that, or we'll revisit that in May and kind of make that decision. But in addition to the 4th on the Plateau, the Klahani Days event is another large tabling opportunity. So keep that on your radar as well. And then the really big one is that Sustainable Sammamish Market happening in August. I am helping coordinate a number of booths, including King County Metro, Cascade Water Alliance, Community Van. And so I'll be kind of bouncing around to a number of tables. Swan, you were there last year helping out. A lot of you were there as well. And creating a scavenger hunt. So that's when we're having some extra bodies is really helpful so that I can make the rounds and make sure that all of the materials that we need are restocked and available. Okay.
All right, so then after that, now we can move on to the proposed agenda calendar.
Okay, so this is just a look ahead for you all, and then also a look back on what we've already covered this year. At our May meeting, one of our facilities project managers, Andrew, is going to come present a recent facilities building electrification study that the city completed on our city hall and our maintenance and operations center. And we'll be looking for some commission recommendations to council as a result of that work. More to come on the next agenda. And then we also are at the very, very tail end of completing a tree canopy assessment with the King Conservation District, which has some pretty big implications for the urban forest management plan and community engagement around trees with the findings of that assessment. I can share, I did receive a summary fact sheet from the King Conservation District, and our canopy has increased 2% over the study period, which is really exciting. So we'll have some more data and details on that, but Sammamish does have one of the most robust tree canopies of any of our surrounding cities in King County.
So that's all the trees in the city.
Yes, the urban canopy is all the trees in the city. This is
a significant loss from that windstorm. Does that take that into account?
so the study period is 2017 to 2023. So the data is actually from 2023, which was prior to that bombs.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rachel remarked some meetings ago, how many trees the city lost that were city owned.
Mhm.
Do we know the percentage of the trees in the city that the city owns versus what are privately owned?
We
Could
do.
we figure that out?
Yes, so part of this canopy assessment was looking at the zones throughout the city. So looking at the different residential zones versus the civic center and commercial zones.
Okay,
And 96% of the plantable area in the city is within those residential zones. So
so to
Well-
answer Nick's statement or question or thought, we could probably figure out how many trees total got blown over by the bomb cycle.
So just to reiterate, the tree canopy data that I'll be presenting to you all is from 2023.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
but with the information about what the city lost, we can extrapolate to what everybody lost and then figure out what that.
I will
Canopy
give you the data and you can give it a try. I think one thing to think about with the tree canopy assessment is that we're not looking at individual trees. We're looking at overall canopy coverage.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
It's probably an aerial survey.
Yeah, so what we would really see is when we get this work done again, the King Conservation District, I believe, does flyovers and then they have the updated data. It's every 2 years and then it takes some time to process the data. So when we get the 2025 data, we'll be able to compare 2023 to 2025. But
2027.
yeah,
It's a long time.
yeah, we don't have that
Some
updated
old data.
at this point. I think it's mostly looking at, right, residential zones, critical areas, development zones, right? And kind of looking at how tree canopy can be improved or is improving.
Well, yeah, that would be a clinker in there. Anybody between 2023 and now, anybody that mowed down a bunch of trees to build some houses, well, there's two unknowns in there. Oops.
It's retrospective data.
Yeah.
So it takes long time to process that data.
Yes.
Year.
I think that's why AI comes.
Yeah.
So they fly the drones.
Yeah, I will get into more of this next time. But the King Conservation District works with many cities in King County and have done similar projects for Mercer Island, Redmond, Issaquah, and Sammamish was not previously included in that data. So I've worked with them over the last couple of months to get our data included using some grant funds. So we did have to use some grant money to get them to do this work for us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
I like seeing Cedar Grove is planned.
Yes, I'm working with them
That's
to get it
good.
scheduled. They wanted to do a midday tour, so I'm working with them to see if we can get like a 3 or 4 p.m. tour, kind of like with Republic. And if we can get it on a day other than a Wednesday afternoon, unless that is ideal for you all. So I'll have some more data, more information to share on this specific tour date. But they do have availability in October, so we would be going to their Maple Valley facility because it's a little bit closer than the Brit.
Yep,
Yeah.
the Cedar Hills landfill.
Wow.
Just one more thing on the tree canopy.
Yeah.
I'm like totally going back.
I know it's exciting. I'm very
Yeah, it's very exciting.
I just don't want to get too ahead of us.
Yeah, it's exciting that it's gone up by 2%. I don't want to ask too many questions right now, but I'm just wondering, like, does the tree canopy assessment take into account like tree age or like width or like any other data at all, or is it just like
How many
tree
trees?
canopy? Yeah.
I don't think tree age will be able to.
That's
No,
true.
I
That's
suspect
definitely
they're just
Counting.
doing
Right?
Coverage.
what's called
Coverage.
growing tessellation, counting all the green area versus all the
Yeah.
area.
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's not looking at individual trees, they don't have that level of detail. But one of the things that tree age does play into, right, as trees mature, their canopies get wider and larger, and so that if you're keeping older growth trees or maintaining the health of younger trees as they get older, the tree canopy will either be maintained or improve with the age of those trees. There's some really cool viewers on the King Conservation District's canopy plotter tool that I'll walk you all through at our next meeting, and you can kind of see the different layers, whether that's by residential zone, critical areas. Yeah, there's a bunch of different viewers that we'll be getting.
Awesome. Thanks, Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very excited to share that work. And then I will also be presenting to council. We're tentatively scheduled for April 21st. So I'll be giving a longer version of that presentation that you all received at our last meeting. We kind of rushed through it because we spent a lot of time on green power, which is great. But if anyone wants to come attend or watch online, you can get a more detailed program update.
What time is that on the 21st?
I don't know the exact timing of when I will be put, like which order agenda item I will be. But as that is determined, you will be able to see.
Well, I haven't been to a city council meeting, so what time do they start? What time do they end?
Yeah, they start at 6:30. We have seen them go as late as 10:30 or 11 p.m.
Wow.
Rarely.
Yes.
8:30. Okay.
Most likely you'll be, just like from what I've seen, like most likely you'll be somewhere around like the 7:30 to 8 mark.
Yeah.
But that like if you want to be there to see it, I would get there by then.
What's the date you're there?
I'm tentatively scheduled for April 21st.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot in April.
That week is going to be a lot.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, and then that also is the date that we'll be reading the Earth Day and the Arbor Day proclamations. So there might be a photo op for commissioners who are in attendance.
Oh, at the meeting.
Yes, that meeting.
Okay,
will-
we did that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah. And this year we actually have the plaque where we can hold up too. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just suggest being there around 6:30 when the council meeting starts.
Swan's a regular.
I'm there every week, so
Do you give public comment every week?
not every week.
He gave a great one.
I've given a few weeks under that.
I like the one you gave. Wasn't last time, just time before that.
I
Your
loved it too.
closings.
Ah, that one, okay.
One
I'm
other,
so proud of you.
one other announcement I just want to share is with Rose's help. I did an op-ed for the Sammamish Independent, which is coming out on Earth Day on the Green Power. So be on the lookout. So that means two of us, Steve and I both have done it, so someone's next.
Published authors.
Published author.
That's awesome.
So someone's next, and maybe the comments from the people at Earth Day will drive what that article is. I don't know.
I move that Steve be, or Tim be the next, author.
Depends on the topic.
The Sammamish Independent came out today.
Oh, good, I'll look it up.
Here it is.
Is it in
Okay,
there?
mine's not in there. It's
Well,
April 20. He said he's doing it at Earth Week.
Oh, okay.
Took me a long time to find yours, Steve.
Well, I don't know that they do,
Yes.
if you can find the op-eds on your phone.
Did it?
Yeah, I eventually found it. I eventually found it on my phone, but it took
Yeah.
me months later. I finally was able to find it. It took them a long time to update the op-ed on the phone.
Yeah.
So anything else? Anybody else have anything they want to add or?
Something I wanted to add was a few weeks ago, I think we talked about this at our last meeting, that there was an electronics recycling event at the King County Library in Issaquah. And I went to it, but it was a great house cleaning exercise because they take everything. So it's called PCs for everyone, I think, and they take all electronic equipment. So I got rid of all the power cords in my house, laptops, CD players, a DVD player. I mean, all this like stuff that,
Wow.
and
Good.
the only thing they would take were microwaves. But they fix it, they repurpose it, they give it to, disadvantaged communities or whoever wants this stuff, right? So I don't know if there's more opportunities for that, Rose, but that was a great spring cleaning exercise.
Yes.
There we
If it
go.
will pull
There
up,
we go.
please.
Your Wi-Fi's
So
not
that
so
was
great.
advertised with the city?
No, it's a
yeah.
nonprofit,
Oh.
and the nonprofit happened to be at the King County Library headquarters in Issaquah, but they're based in Fremont, so you could drop stuff off anytime you want. You just go to their Fremont
Okay.
location.
Oh, this is the one.
That's
coming up.
great. We do not have a drop-off box necessarily like that, but we do have a recycling event this weekend on Saturday. And we have 5 recycling events a year, and which materials are accepted at each recycling event kind of cycles through depending on which vendors we're subcontracting with. Sometimes there's styrofoam, sometimes there's tires, wood. But at this event, there actually is electronic and computer equipment collection.
Oh, great.
So for completely free, except for printers or copiers, because they are larger. So this would be an opportunity on Saturday. And you can also get rain barrel compost and worm bins.
Yeah.
Think about like how many
Right.
phones you've gotten in the last 10 years and how many of those USB cords and stuff you've had to buy and upgrade. I had like a whole bag full of them at home. It was a great way to get rid of them.
I had one phone for that many years, so like a couple of months ago. So some of us don't upgrade.
So yeah, if you are not doing anything else this weekend, I recommend checking this out.
My iPhone 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, there you go. That's the one I just got rid of to get my whatever that is.
17.
I'm curious, like, how many of these events will we like have a table at, or like, will there be a sustainability related table at? Like,
All of these,
Yeah,
right? That's-
all of them.
Awesome.
I have a note on there. Sorry, it's out of this. Where'd it go? There's a note on there. The ones with asterisks, we will not have a table.
Got you, awesome.
So those are more sustainability related events, for example, the recycling events. Just with the number of cars coming in and the way that that's set up, there's not an opportunity to table. The Bee City movie showing this Sunday. They are going to have some of the sustainable Sammamish guides, but we do not have a booth. I only have so much time in a week, so some of these are events that I wanted you all to be aware of and you're encouraged to attend, but are not an official tabling opportunity for the commission. And then just a note on there, we are still working to schedule the Arbor Day restoration event. Those events are not scheduled quite so far in advance. We'll usually know that about a month or two ahead of time. The additional recycling events, we have 3 more this year that the dates aren't yet set. And then there will be some Energy Smart Eastside heat pump workshops as well that are not really tabling opportunities, but are still community engagement and learning opportunities.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rose.
Of course.
Anybody else?
I do have a quick thing, for the Parks and Rec department with the volunteer opportunities. There's a few next week for Evans Creek where they are looking for more volunteers if possible. Just 'cause if they don't get enough volunteers, they may not be able to do those events on the 14th and 15th. That's Wednesday and Thursday next week. I'm not sure yet if I'll be able to make it to them, but I'm going to see if I can. But if people are available those mornings, I'm sure they would appreciate more volunteers.
Does it has to be the commission member? Sorry.
Not just commission members, this one.
Can you forward that? Do I have that?
It's on Galaxy Digital, but I can also just forward you the email that I got from
Yeah,
them
I think
about that.
just email me as soon as possible. I'll see if I can tell him.
I think I saw an email about it on your city account on your laptop.
I can resend it.
Yeah.
So you have it at the top of your.
Yeah, because it brings
If you could forward it to me, I see the internal postings. I don't always see the external postings. That'd be a great opportunity to forward to your community. Right.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion. Adjourn the meeting.
Anyone?
Second. Third.
Okay, then it looks like we're adjourned.